Don't you guys just love the video game industry? We're just 2 days away from the release of the Xbox One X, and Albert Penello is already kind of talking about a fully fledged next-gen Xbox that may or may not happen. And you know what? I want to talk about that idea right now. What's going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. And if you missed it, a few hours ago, I posted a video about why I am excited for the Xbox One X. And it's maybe not the reasons you would think. The 4K stuff is nice, but there's other reasons why I'm excited. And I posted a picture on Twitter, which is one of the many reasons. So you can check that out. All my social media, Twitter, and all that good stuff is in the description of the video as always. So you can follow me there and see what I'm doing. But this video is going to be about next gen. I know some people don't want to hear about it, and some people really do. The PS4 Pro's been out for a year. The Xbox One X is going to be out in 2 days. But you know, plans are brewing at Redmond and at Sony about the next system. Now, Microsoft is talking about a next-gen, fully-fledged system that may happen, but we already know from Sony that a PS5 is coming. The question is when, and I've detailed in videos on this channel that Micropactor predicted 2019 or 2020. Now, it stands to reason, with the PS5 being a reality, that Xbox would have something to counter. But before we get into all that, I just wanted to read the quotes here that Albert said to IGN, and so we can discuss it. He says, Microsoft's Albert Penello said that Microsoft doesn't think that console generations are coming to an end, but rather that generations will maintain compatibility. He goes on to say, that's the question, we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, part of it is, this is a brand new experiment that both us and Sony are on with this concept. And right now, we have to sort of build trust that the stuff you're buying will work, that this ecosystem will make sense for people, for developers, and that is what will inform what happens next. But I think there will always be step changes in technology. I don't think we've ever said that console generations go away because of this idea, but I do think that it changes the nature of how you think about compatibility, which has always been an afterthought for the most part on consoles. Now, what he says right there is 100% the truth. When you go from one gen to the next, controllers don't work, your headsets don't work, everything about the previous system just doesn't move forward. Now, on the X, and even on the Pro, your controllers, your headsets, they all work, which is great because nobody wants to rebuy all that stuff. And the way they're talking about it is like controllers, headsets, and all that stuff will potentially work on the next system. But it goes beyond just the accessories that you buy for Xbox. It also is a promise about the games. Now, most PlayStations always kind of had back compat. Even the original PS3 had back compat with the PS2, but they dropped it. There was only that one model that did. And then when the PS4 came out, they dropped back compat completely. And they would rather have you subscribe to PS Now, stream your old games that you may already have, and pay them for it. Microsoft, on the 360, they had original Xbox games that you could buy. But you had to buy them even if you owned them. A lot of people didn't like that, and they didn't really support that feature very much. And then on the Xbox One launch, there was no back compat. But Phil took office, and one of the first things he wanted to do was make back compat a reality, because he felt it was the consumers, the Xbox fans, were investing so much into the platform by buying all these digital games and these library of games that extended not only on the Xbox One but to the 360 and the original Xbox, that Phil thought it was that Microsoft had an obligation to make sure that those games that they bought would always work. So they introduced the back compatibility. And I know Microsoft gets a lot of crap for it on Twitter sometimes. When they always announce the back compat stuff, it's like, oh, old games versus new games. And it's not about old games versus new games. It's about the promise that Microsoft is basically saying here is that you are safe buying a digital game on our system because we're giving you a promise that those games will move forward into the next system. So you have the back compat program, like 400 or 500 games strong on the Xbox One for the 360, and then they just introduced the original Xbox. It's going to have less games, but it's kind of a goodwill gesture, right? They're probably I'd imagine maybe they have 60, at some point in time, but I can't see it ever catching up to the, what the Xbox 360 did. But all this stuff, what Albert Penello is talking about, the console generations may not go away, but the promise and the compatibility they want to bring forward so that you're always in the Xbox ecosystem. So, I own 1,000 games on the Xbox One. I want my digital purchases on the Xbox One to carry forward to Xbox One XX or Xbox Infinity or whatever they call the fully fledged next-gen Xbox, right? I want that because I've invested all this money, and Phil has said to the consumers that, hey, you stick with that Xbox, your stuff will work forward. We'll make sure that the controllers work, that the accessories work, and that your games will play. That is the promise Microsoft is making. And I have a feeling, looking at Sony and the PS5, we're getting back to the PS5 and the Xbox Infinity, is that Sony's going to have a dilemma to face themselves, which I'm sure they're probably solving or thinking about now. Digital is becoming more and more relevant every single day, every single month of every single year as we move forward. Destiny 2 came out, and despite what you may think about the game, over half of its sales was digital. Digital represents more and more of what people are buying every year. And we know Sony doesn't really care about backwards compatibility because they say their consumer base doesn't care about backwards compatibility. But I have a feeling that the PS5 will offer PS4 backwards compatibility because of the rise of this whole digital era. And they don't want anybody, for any reason whatsoever, to leave the PlayStation ecosystem. When the PS5 comes out, it's going to start at zero systems sold. The PS4 Pro is kind of shoved into the numbers for the PlayStation 4 and similar to the Xbox One X to the Xbox One. But PS5 is the start of a new gen. They're going to be at zero. They don't want to give any reason for their PlayStation fans to jump ship. So they're going to make sure that, hey, PS5 is coming. All your old games work, so you have a library. Some of them will probably run better because I'm sure they're taking notes from what Microsoft is doing. And then here are all the new games. So they just keep rolling over the user base. And I think Microsoft is going to do the same. So, for instance, let's say PlayStation 5 comes out. And let's just say it comes out in 2019. Which would be exactly, 6 years? So, 2013 for the PS4, 2016 for the PS4 Pro, 2019 for the PS5. I think Microsoft will have a fully fledged next-gen Xbox in 2020 at the latest, because it's going to be the start of next gen, and they're not going to let Sony have that big of a head start. Honestly, even if Sony pushes it to 2020, I could see Microsoft launching their system right then and there. They're still competing for people's time and money and things like that. So, we are going to get another Xbox. This, I know for sure. Well, I don't know. I don't have any insider information. But it's going to happen. We're still stuck in this kind of generation because the technology will get better. And it gets better quicker. So, the Xbox One X, which is coming out in a couple days, is a great piece of tech, but in 3 years, it'll be obsolete. I know people and PC people are probably saying in the video right now, but Rand, the Xbox One X is obsolete. But all I'm saying is that in 3 years, they could build a way better system at the same cost that they built the Xbox One X for that could run games better. And developers and publishers are always looking, for more power and better graphics to sell games, So it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You can bank on it. And maybe a lot of people don't want to hear that because they're just about to slide over their $500 to get the X. But believe me, expect it. Whether it's 3 years from now or 4 years from now or even 2 years from now, there will be a fully fledged next-gen Xbox that is way more powerful than the Xbox One X. That maybe won't be tethered to the Xbox One in the way the Xbox One X is. Maybe the Xbox Infinity, which is what I'll call the next system, will have its own exclusives and its own games that don't necessarily have to work on the older console models. Because it says right here, you can see the tagline, but I don't think we've ever said that console generations go away because of this idea. So the possibility exists that on the next Xbox Infinity, there's a game that runs on that system but doesn't run on X or the original Xbox One. But the promise of all your old stuff, all the games that you bought right now, the games that you own, the accessories that you spent hundreds of dollars on, those will carry forward, I'm sure. But the games, or the new games, maybe not. Anyways, it's kind of interesting that they're talking about this pretty closely to the launch of the new system. But either way, I think we can expect at least one more PlayStation and one more new Xbox. And after that, who knows what happens. But that's my take on all this stuff. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button to the channel if you're new or haven't already. Share this out on Twitter, the little share button at the bottom so everybody can check it out. Hit the notification bell so you're always notified when I drop new videos. Go in the description of the video and follow me on Twitter so you can see what I post every single day. I don't post a lot, so I won't clog up your timeline, but I really appreciate everyone taking the time out of the day to watch the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see everyone in the next video. Later, guys.